What's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg, and this is another Chance Encounter. Hey, what's up? I'm Dan Fredenberg. I'm a commercial real estate guy. I'm from the internet. We're seeing more properties like this being built in front of a house that's going to be torn down soon. I understand that there are power lines that are getting kind of close. What's up again? This is Dan Fredenberg, and that there is a commercial real estate building. I'm joined today with Max Moala. Is that how you pronounce it right, Moala?
It is. It is.
Excellent. And how you doing today, Max?
Super. Great. It's Monday.
Awesome. Exactly. I'm in a great mood too. And the reason why I'm in a great mood is because my very favorite audience member is here today. And why is my favorite audience member here today? It's because this is a chance encounter where I interview commercial real estate syndicators, investors, and operators. And why do I do that? Well, part of it is because it's the law. But the bigger reason is you have to figure out if there's overlap between your business and the businesses of other investors, syndicators, and operators and whatnot. And so I want to find out is there any overlap? And that's what we're up to right now. You get to watch, and the whole point is you can actually reach out to Max. He'll give his information at the end, and if he's a good fit for your team, you can get that party started. But before we get too excited, Max, can you introduce yourself to the audience real quick, please?
Yeah. Max Moala. I am a multifamily investor, syndicator here based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas. And so, yeah, that's kind of the short, quick, and small of it.
It's all good because that's why we're here. We're here to find out the full story, and so there's no point in just trying to, do it all in the first step when we got all these other wonderful questions to figure it out. So if
Yeah,
I
let's do it.
All right, rock and roll. So let me lean over a little bit. So the first part that I go through is the motivations, and the reason for that is because sometimes I have newbies on the show, and they'll know why they're getting involved in this, but they won't necessarily know what they're going to contribute. So I go through this first. The first motivation I've found that some people have is they're looking to preserve their purchasing power, and what that means is that they've already got enough assets, and they use the cash flow that comes from those assets to make ends meet. But when inflation rears its ugly head, you're going to have to make more acquisitions, borrowing against assets that you already have, because if you're at this point, you're not in a selling mode unless the asset has basically lost its ability to keep up with inflation and do better with it. So some people, that's what they're up to, but that's not my big priority. My big priority, oh, so I got a new pop-up thing here. Anyway, so my big priority is trading time directly for wealth instead of the typical way that people do, which is you get a job and you pay your taxes, and then whatever's left you end up investing that. I've got a background in tech. Specifically, it's in the CRM industry. I worked for web.com, and then I opened up my own agency. So I've been helping a bunch of commercial real estate and other real estate companies with their CRMs and their funnels, capital raising funnels, all that kind of fun stuff. And the reason I've been doing that is because I'm going like, well, why don't I just skip the step? Why don't I figure out how to get that multiplication of my capital working for me, but skip the step of paying enormous income tax? So that's what I'm up to, but most people are more interested in taking control of their time. Some people, that's in the form of fast tracking their retirement. In other words, they don't want to be working all day, every day. Maybe they just want to work fewer months per year or fewer weeks per month, fewer hours per week. Who knows what it is, but that's what some people are up to. They're looking to, shift down and make things a little bit easier. But some people, they're so ambitious, that's why they're doing it. They want to buy their entire hometown. They're after that generational wealth. They want to make sure their great grandchildren never have to hold a day job. And that's why they're doing all this kind of stuff. And those guys are great to have in your team because they're going to keep hustling into their 90s. There's just not going to be any stopping at all. Just like this next group of people who they've picked a sector of society, or maybe it's the environment, or maybe it's animals or something like that, but they realize from a financial standpoint, you have to make a lot of progress before that's actually going to work. And that's why they're making these commercial acquisitions. So out of those 5 different motivations, what combination of those really sounds most like you or resonates with you the most, Max?
The option for time, and I guess the fast track retirement.
Mm-hmm.
I think for me, money and time is I think money is the measurement of time. What I mean by that is if you have $1,000 ticket and you're making $100 an hour, really you're trading 10 hours of work to buy that $1,000 item. And so it's just that those options. And so that's the reason why I'm in commercial real estate is the
Mhm.
ability to bring back that time and options is through a passive cash flow.
All right, I love it. That makes lots of sense. And of course, that actually brings me to the next part, which is tolerance for risk. And this is the other reason why people often get into commercial real estate is because they understand the risks involved, but they also go like, well, hey, that's a whole lot less risky than some of the other alternatives. So my next question for you is please fill in the blank. There are many popular investment asset classes, but I think blank is too risky. What do you think people invest in, but you think it's like, yeah, there's no way for me. It's just too risky.
For me personally, crypto, just because I think things become risky when we don't know much about it. And me, I have absolutely no idea crypto. So it would just be gambling. I might as well just be buying a gambling ticket, a lottery ticket.
Yep, yeah, I absolutely love that. I think that's fantastic. You know, my big problem with it is that you don't make money for owning it, for one, and there's no way to force appreciation because
Exactly, exactly.
any kind of crypto, it's a commodity, really. It's the same as a next person's Bitcoin. Like they're essentially identical, even though they can separate which one's which. But anyway, let's get back to commercial real estate specifically, and let's find out what role Max is going to be in. And why am I doing that? Well, I really want you in the camera there. I want you to be able to effectively communicate on the subject of commercial real estate. And to do that, you need to know the different roles. So that's why I got the Dan Does Deals commercial roll die, which you can get at dandoesdeals.com. It's totally free. I don't even ask for your email address. What kind of moron am I? But again, I want you to print it out, show it to your friends. I've even got commercial real estate brokers printing these things out and showing it to people so they get it through their head. So let's make sure that you understand all the members of the team so you know how Max fits into these deals. Let's start off with repositioners. Repositioners look at a bunch of different properties because they're the acquisitions people. And the first thing that they're doing, because they're an acquisitions person, is they're doing something, it's a big word, underwriting. They do the underwriting. That's a fancy way of saying they do the arithmetic. They do the math. They say, first of all, hey, seller, is this property actually making the amount of money that you claim it is, and therefore is actually worth it? But the other thing that the repositioner does, other than finding out the details of the deal, is they're sitting there thinking, how do I reposition it? It's not the most common word, but reposition it means how do you change the property so it has more upside, so it makes more money, right? And the repositioner has three main tools in their tool belt to pull that off. The first one is more advantageous lending. If you go to financiers who can lend you money at a lower rate, well, you've already got more net operating income, so you found yourself some upside. That's usually not in the cards for a lot of people. So the next tool in the repositioner's tool belt is the operations piece. You stop those Benjamins from going down the toilet, and then you're going to be making more money. But there's more to operations than just unclogging toilets, collecting rents, mowing lawns, all that kind of fun stuff, shoveling snow if you're unfortunate to live in a snowdrift like me. But the operations piece, there's also a marketing part, which is one of my main fortes along with the technology, which is the marketing piece is making sure that the vacancy rate stays low because empty units make you no money. But operations is probably not enough in most properties to really get enough upside to make it worth the acquisition. So repositioners often get a contractor team to do the renovations, make the units nicer, fix the place up, or actually replace appliances and fixtures and, like countertops, things like that. And one problem that the repositioner might run into with their contractor team, though, is they might be like me. See, I'm from the internet, and that's highly inconvenient. So I need a local. You need boots on the ground. You need somebody who can be there in an hour or two, because that's not going to be me, because I'd be still messing around at the airport in an hour or two. So you need that local, and that's basically your main team there. But when the repositioner has the deal in hand, under contract or whatever, and they're turning around to the financier saying, okay, here's my team and here's the property, this is how we're going to make more money, there's one thing I haven't mentioned yet that the financier is going to want to know, which is, who's the KP? Who's the sponsor? And a lot of coaching programs, they kind of gloss over this piece of the puzzle, and this is how it works. If you want to be eligible for a commercial loan, somebody in the fold has to already own a similar asset. You have to be able to prove to the bank that you can actually make it work. And so that's why they insist on it, right? So if you want to buy a 350 unit apartment complex, somebody has to already own a 350 unit apartment complex on your team. On top of that, you need a certain amount of liquidity, in other words, money on hand. And then you also, between the GP team, these different owners, you have to have a balance sheet of at least the amount of the loan. But if you've got all those pieces, you've got yourself a commercial real estate deal. So, Max, of those different pieces, what are your core competencies that you expect to contribute to your next deal?
So I do a lot of I do this whole time. So I do a portion of all three, and I actually like all three as far as like the acquisitions, the underwriting, the operations, and then there's even some part of like capital raising to get these deals done. I guess it all.
Mhm.
So the financing, dealing with lenders. I do all three. I enjoy all three. I think the acquisitions part is that's the part that I do enjoy more because it's just dealing with investors,
Mhm.
not investors, the brokers.
Mhm.
Apologize. And then that's the most part. I'm most intrigued about operations because I'm always figuring out ways that I can like increase or force appreciate or maybe cut the expenses. So I enjoy everything about multifamily. I think this is why I do it, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are probably the two most that I probably see myself fitting in with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that because you're absolutely right. If you're a repositioner of any type, you have some financier capabilities because like you got to be increasing the size of the portfolio all the time. But in that on that topic of building your portfolio, everybody has what I call a buy box or an ideal property, and let me just talk about what that means as far as when commercial real estate investors talk to each other. So your buy box, I like to say it's basically three parts. The first one's geography. Okay, so we're going to need to know where is this property? Where are these ideal properties where it's easy to say yes to? So that means what state, possibly what county, possibly what neighborhood. Okay, it all matters. Location, 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 as they say. Second one is the size, and we're talking about multifamily here. And in multifamily, they choose the size based off of the unit count in general, at least from an operations perspective. Of course, like if you're buying in California, it's going to be way more expensive than anywhere else. But right, but basically the size is has to do with how much effort it is to actually take care of the place. So that's why the unit count's going to come up. In other forms of commercial real estate, like say warehousing or industrial, it'll be square foot. But the in multifamily, in self storage, in mobile home parks, in offices, you're going to be talking about unit counts. So that's the second thing. But the third one, unfortunately, they use the same word, class, for two different things. I don't like that, but here's the two different meanings. The first one, it's talking about what condition is the building in, including how old is it. So is it old, ugly, and beat up, or is it brand new, immaculate, and luxurious? Because the luxuries actually count towards that class as well. So that's one meaning of class. But the second meaning that's separate, it has to do with the area that the property is in. So what's the crime rate like? What are the school districts like in that area? Okay. And both of those two, they rate it the same way, just like in grade school, where it'll be like B minus or like A or C plus and so on like that. But Max, as far as what you're looking for, what's your buy box? What's easier to say yes to and more difficult to say no to?
Yeah, so I look mostly here in the Sun Belt states here because I'm in Dallas in Texas. I'll look anywhere in Dallas and Texas here. It's always a great market, and it's primary markets and secondary markets as well. As far as unit size, any 50 to 150 units is where I'm looking within, and then class C class is where I like to kind of stay because it's that I feel like that has the most opportunity for value add to increase that value add. Although I've seen a lot of pricing has been, or most recently it was a lot of the pricing was I was looking at C class assets, but they were almost the same being sold or priced at the same as B class. So it's like, well, why don't I just look for B class anyways? Something that's a little newer. It's almost like if you're purchasing a car, why would you buy an older car that's in the same price as a newer car if the maintenance is going to be the same, is going to be more expensive for an older car, right? So,
Mhm.
so now it's B and C.
I love it. Yeah, it's like why, like if you have a nice car, so you're not going to park it in a bad neighborhood. It's like kind of the same
Yeah,
idea, right? Yeah, I love
exactly.
that. I love that. So the next thing you mentioned already that you wear more hats than a lot of commercial investors and syndicators and whatnot. But the thing that's amazing about the industry as a whole is that because there's so many roles, the 6 different roles, nobody's really all 6 of them though, and that means that we're always looking to build our teams or have better parts to do some new deals that are perhaps unrelated. But we also all have our own strengths and core competencies. So some people were better equipped to help them than others. Me personally, I'm always on the lookout for more sponsors and KPs, and the reason for that is because of my marketing and tech background. So these guys will already have some sort of foundation put together where I can really be fuel for the fire. But when you're first getting started, it's more grunt work. It's just the perseverance that's going to win more than anything else, and that perseverance will be kind of outweighed by the cost of having somebody who knows how to scale in a seven figures and up. But Max, as far as who you're looking for, and don't entice any investors if you've got any 506B
Yeah.
right now, because the SEC doesn't like that. But who are you on the lookout for? Who can you help more than anybody else, disproportionately anyway?
Yeah. So I think I'm always looking for those busy professionals who do have extra cash, who like to invest and mostly in something where maybe they might seem that real estate right now, according to the economy, it seems risky to invest it. But like I said, going back, risk is always, I think, is according to your knowledge and what you know. It seems risky if you don't know what you're doing here. And so, I'm always looking for just limited partners that are willing to invest here, as far as because I do most of it, and I've gotten a team here, and
Mm-hmm.
we're yeah. But deals, I was looking. I'm always willing to co-GP and looking at other deals here as well. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
together, teamwork makes the dream work, I guess.
For sure. For sure, for sure. And if somebody is in the little glass thing and you are a perfect match, what's the best way to reach out to you? We met through some meetups. I tend to find them on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn is a fantastic way to reach me because I'm there so much. But how about you? What's the best way to reach out to you, Max?
Yeah, LinkedIn would probably be the easiest way to get a hold of me. Max Moala. It's Moala. It looks like it's koala, like a koala bear with an M. So that's probably the simplest, easiest way to remember it.
Yeah, yeah.
LinkedIn. Connect
Yeah,
on
I
LinkedIn.
was thinking the cartoon Moana, but with an L instead.
Yeah, or that too. Hey,
Right?
whichever way makes it easiest for you to remember my name.
Right,
So
that's the ticket. That's exactly it. And of course, the next thing is actually it's not for you, Max. It's for you in the audience there, which is I've got this awareness campaign. It's very important, very key. The videos that you see under the left-hand corner. If you're on a phone, it's just a red word, but if you're on a desktop, it's a big ugly red button. And we got to get rid of those big ugly red buttons. They're terrible. They're awful, awful, awful. They're ugly. They hurt my eyes. And so the only way that you can get rid of this awful red button is you click on it, and then it turns into the gray button of tranquility, which I love the gray button of tranquility because it has a magical power that makes YouTube start to pay for these videos instead of me. Okay, you need 1,000 subscribers, you need 4,000 watch hours per year before they give you 1 red cent. Okay, it's bad. So please do me a great big favor and hit that awful red button. You don't want to look at it anyway. And all it really does is it means that my videos might show up on your list of suggestions. You can go ahead and ignore them. That's perfectly fine. I just appreciate that you spent this time with me today. Just like Max, I appreciate you joining me today. It's been great getting to know you a little bit better.
yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Awesome.
having me on here.
Sweet. Thanks. Make sure you 506B me. Any syndicators, make sure you 506B me.
Hi.
Oh, hey, yeah, here's my code. You got your QR code scanner? Okay, yeah, oh yeah, just hold it right in the square there. Okay, cool. And now you hit open in browser.
Okay.
Okay, are you already logged into 506BME?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, so there's my video. So now I'm already on your watch list. So when you get back to your hotel, you can find out what my core competencies are and my level of sophistication. Sound good?
Yeah.
I love your hat. Real estate's a scam. That's really funny.
Yeah.
Nice meeting you.
You too.
506B me, everybody.